They tried to break Drake, but they couldn't destroy him. They can't destroy you either. Here's the lessons we can learn from the failed attempt to destroy the biggest recording artist on the planet. Now, you've been hated and smeared. You've had people talk bad about you behind your back and share lies or even truths that you didn't want shared about you. It is all a part of an orchestrated smear campaign, an attempt to bring you down, to stop you, to destroy you. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's not malicious. A lot of times it is. But when it happens, it can make you feel like you need to defend yourself and you don't know where to go or what to do. The artist Drake went through something very similar on the world stage at a much larger level than anything you or I has ever experienced. And the way that he's come out of it is actually a great example, because no matter what you've been through, no matter what type of smearing you've had on your name, it wasn't quite as public as what he went through. I mean, imagine being accused of one of the most socially reprehensible things a person can be accused of, and then that accusation becoming a song that becomes the most popular song on the planet, and then millions of people are listening to it and singing it and playing it at events, and people are dancing to it and making jokes about you, and memes are created about you, and you're everywhere, but not in a good way. Celebrities are participating in this smear campaign about you, and eventually the song is performed at the biggest television event in America, which happens to be the Super Bowl. That's what Drake went through. Not long ago, maybe about 600 days before my recording this. But what do you do if you're in that situation? How do you defend yourself? How do you defend your reputation when millions of people have already heard the accusation? Some are repeating it. Some believe it. How do you continue living when you know there are people who have never even met you that now believe something horrible about you? Does this sound like your situation? Let me know in the comments. This is essentially the situation that Drake found himself facing, but this is why I am talking about Drake today. Because we are now 2 years after that event, and something very interesting has happened. Drake didn't break. He didn't disappear. He didn't become irrelevant or lose his audience. In fact, in 2026, Drake became the first artist in a 70-year history of the Billboard 200 to occupy the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 album positions simultaneously. Iceman debuted at number 1. Habibti debuted at number 2. Maid of Honor debuted at number 3. Iceman alone generated approximately 462 million on-demand streams in its first week and became Drake's 15th number 1 album. And Drake became the first artist in history to surpass 400 Billboard Hot 100 entries. That's 400 hit songs. Isn't it interesting that you can come out of the roughest, most terrible, most darkest time of your life even bigger and better than what you were when you went into it? This video isn't really about Drake and Kendrick Lamar. It's about you. It's about, what do you do when someone attempts to destroy your reputation? What do you do when it appears they have succeeded in destroying your reputation and you lose your job and your deals and your partnerships and your agreements and your contracts and your friends and your family and your spouse and your reputation and your credibility and your credit and your privileges? What do you do when the whole world seems to have turned on you? Most of us will never have millions of people, literally, that turn against us, that are talking about us. But it can feel like Everyone you know knows these things about you, or is thinking these things about you that aren't even true or aren't real or aren't fair or are a misrepresentation because of something a coworker or former friend has said, an abusive partner is spreading about you. And if you've experienced that, you know the temptation is, I got to go out and I got to make people understand. I got to make them know the truth. I just got to get the truth out there. I got to talk to these people. Don't fall for that. Don't try that. It doesn't work. And no, you don't. You don't need to get out there and try to make everyone understand the truth. You don't control what people understand. You don't control the narrative. One of the most painful realizations in life is that you can't control what another human thinks about you or is saying about you. You can control your own behavior. You can control your own response. You can provide evidence. You can correct false information. But you can't actually crawl inside the mind of the other person and force them to believe you, force them to retract and to adopt the corrections that you've published. This is where people become trapped because they think, well, if I could just explain it better, then they're going to listen. If they would just listen, then I could explain it. I need to show everybody what really happened. I have proof. But suddenly, the person who hurt you is now controlling your life. Because every waking hour is being spent trying to respond to them, to the accusation, to the smear. So now you're actually allowing yourself to be defined by it by trying to undefine yourself by it because it becomes your purpose. Understand, and this is tough, but your reputation belongs partially to other people. What people decide to believe about you belongs to them. And man, if they don't use this in some cultures and some families, especially against women, they make you feel like your reputation, your reputation, your reputation, your reputation, your reputation, your reputation. It's everything. What we're saying about you is everything, right? And so you're trying to protect your reputation, but what they didn't tell you is that you can't control your reputation. They didn't tell you that. So they put you from childhood on a hamster wheel, trying to make sure that no one thought that you were promiscuous and no one thought that you were evil or bad or misbehaved or too rebellious. I don't want anyone to think I'm bad. I don't want anyone to think to bring shame on my family. You can't actually control that. What you control is your character. You control your values, your actions. You don't control the reputation, as many young women in these cultural groups have found, because in the end, they can still just brand you as promiscuous or as a cheater or whatever it is they want to brand you as. They can brand you that. Could be due to honest mistake for some, and for others, it could be malicious. You don't control 100% your reputation. You control your actions. You control your character. Pay attention to that. And don't confuse an accusation with a verdict. Because psychologically, human beings have something called the illusory truth effect. What that means is that when we repeatedly hear a statement, the familiarity can make the statement feel like it's more believable or true. And so smear campaigns become psychologically devastating because the victim starts to think everyone believes this. Everyone thinks it's true. Everyone is saying this. No, they don't. You don't know what everyone is thinking. You don't know what everyone believes. People don't care about you as much as you are thinking about you. People aren't thinking about you that much. It's kind of a freeing thought when you recognize that. Just because this bad thing out there has been said about you doesn't mean that everyone is just thinking this one bad thing about you and that's all they're thinking. They're actually thinking about themselves, their life, what they're going to eat, what they're going to do. When you come up, which could be very rare, they might have attached in your file this bad piece of information they heard. But many people are smart enough to keep that tagged as allegedly. They know that they don't know. A lot of people are smart enough. And the people who aren't smart enough to tag it as alleged and actually totally alter your whole file that they have in their brain about you based on something they heard, why are you worried about them? They're proving themselves to not be a high quality friend. That wouldn't be someone you would actually want in your life anyway. Someone who just believes any lie about you easily, that was never going to last. Not everyone believes it, by the way. There may be a minority of people who don't believe what they heard. They're not going to run around defending you or anything like that, but they just heard it and they just shrug their shoulders and like, well, whatever. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? I don't believe it. But remember, most people don't care because they don't have the capacity to care. Not because you're not important. It's just people are limited in their capacity to be able to really focus and think about other people. A lot of people will forget. Honestly, it'll be like I think I heard some, I don't remember. Literally, it'll be like that. Especially as time continues to pass, it becomes fainter and fainter and fainter off into the distance. Please keep that in mind. Every day is working in your favor as long as you're not still getting involved in that. Keep that in mind. Every day pushes it further back because every human's getting more information stacked on top of information they already had, which makes the old information less and less memorable. So whatever little piece of information, untrue as it was, that they had about you, they start to forget it over time. So no, not everybody believes it. Not everybody thinks it. Not everybody's focused on it. There's really only a small minority of people that are your actual enemies that are actually out there fomenting these lies about you, that actually care to push this narrative. It's not everyone. So stop saying that to yourself. Stop saying everyone, everyone, everyone. It's not everyone. Separate what someone said about you from what's actually been established as a fact, because that's two different things. Speaking of establishing facts, the world is not a courtroom. Actually, the world is not a courtroom. You are not on trial. And so therefore, it is not your job to convince the jury of your peers of your innocence. That's not what's happening here, but you might feel that way, right? Have you felt like that? Like you're a defense attorney, or it's your job as the accused to defend yourself and to prove yourself innocent? And you think the world is your jury? It's not like that. If you think like that, every day you're going to be like, wait till people see this. I got to get this out there. It's not going to work. Once I explain this, then people are going to understand. No. There is no trial. There will never be a unanimous verdict. There will never be a unanimous verdict. That's why the smear campaign, by the way, affects you so much, is that you wanted there to be a unanimous image of you. And at one time you maybe felt like there was. Everyone knew you the way you wanted to be known. They knew the information about you that you wanted them to know. And that felt sustainable, good, controllable. Ultimately, there is now no unanimous verdict. Because the world is a divided world, that we live in a divided world. It's a divided universe. So therefore, there will always be opposers. There will always be naysayers and enemies. You will always have people against you who don't believe you, who don't trust you. No matter how good you are, no matter how trustworthy you are, you can't make everyone be on the same side. You're always going to have the people who are against you. Recognize that. There is no great man or woman who has been universally loved and accepted by everyone for their whole entire existence. It doesn't happen, not for anyone who's great, who's well known, who's an adult. That doesn't happen. Go ahead, try to think of someone who doesn't have any haters. And then you Google that person, wehatethatperson.com exists. Truly, everyone is hated. And those haters all latch on to something defamatory about that person and make that the basis of their hate. Welcome to the real world. Welcome. Congratulations. You're right here with the rest of us, great people who are moving and shaking, who are in the arena doing something. We have enemies, and the enemies will try to choose our identity. Your job is not to allow the enemy to choose your identity, because your identity is not what everyone else identifies you as. Your true identity is who you see yourself as, which is who you truly want to be. It's your character. This is where Drake's subsequent career becomes quite interesting. Because imagine if after that smear campaign, he made everything in his music all about proving that he's not a pedophile. How well would that have done? Every song he addresses, no, I'm not a pedophile, every song. How well would that have gone? Every music video. He would probably not be back on top. He would be sunk. And everyone would have said, man, he let it eat him alive. He let it get to him. When you make your entire identity revolving around the person that attacked you or the thing that they said about you and trying to prove it false and defend yourself, that's psychological captivity. You lose if you do that. Don't do that. If you've been doing that, stop. When someone hurts you and then they spend 5 years talking about it, don't you spend 5 years trying to talk about it, trying to defend yourself. Because then they've occupied 5 years of your life in your head, rent-free. And at some point you have to say, that happened to me, but that's not who I am. Shrug your shoulders and keep it pushing. So how do we beat it? How do we win against the smear campaign? Well, how did Drake win against the smear campaign? Pay attention to the strategy. You ready? In May 2026, Drake didn't just drop another album. He occupied the top 3 positions of the Billboard 200 simultaneously. No artist has ever done that before. He also became the first artist ever to reach 400 Billboard Hot 100 entries. That means he now has 400 hits under his belt. Or at least songs that were on the top 100. Think about the psychological lesson of that. Did you catch the strategy? It was hard to catch because it didn't involve anything about the smear campaign. He didn't spend the 2 years between 2024 and 2026 trying to convince everyone, making a show or website or movie where he proves himself, I have proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am not what they said I was. No. He did something else. What did he do over the next 2 years? he created great music. He dropped 2 albums. In addition to that, he dropped a bunch of free music, especially right after the famous battle. Dropped a bunch of free music. Once he lost public favor, he just stopped trying to sell anything and started just giving things away for free. There you go. Here's 100 gigs. Here's another song. Here's a couple more songs. Here's some more songs. He just would throw them out. We wouldn't release them through proper channels. Why not? Because he doesn't want to do anything that would be perceived as trying to get approval. Because if he does, what will everyone say? Not literally everyone, but his naysayers who had the loudest microphone at that time, they would have said, he failed. Look. He's so desperate. He's trying to get our attention, trying to get our approval. We hate it. Anything he would have dropped. The people who were dancing on his grave, so to speak, would have said, it's trash. They still say that, by the way. He never got rid of the opposition. He just became louder than them by going down into the Batcave, working on his craft. He was gone for a while, but we didn't see him. Several months, he was down in the basement working on his craft. And then he emerged. And what did he have? After the world started to miss him and crave him, he had 3 albums completed. And they went number 1, number 2, number 3. Proving himself statistically to be the biggest and arguably the best recording artist in existence. That's the strategy. Did you catch it? Just go be successful. That's it. That's it. Just go be successful. That's it. Whatever it was that you were working on, go back and get to work on it, but work on it harder. Whatever goals you can set for yourself now with the circumstances and what you have left, go and work on that. Go and build on that. That is the answer to the smear campaign. There is no way to get everyone on your side. But what's missed when you're focused on everyone who's not on your side is your tribe. There are actually a few people who aren't interested in siding with your opposition and who would support you. Drake has some people like that, right? I would say so, being that he's the most listened to hip-hop artist on any streaming service, period, by a long shot. He has his tribe. He has his people that like what he does and maybe like him as well. That's all he's got to focus on. That's his pocket right there. He's got to focus on those people, and just giving them what they love. Just giving them what they love. He's got to be great. He's got to make things that are great. I want you to get to work. Stop worrying about what people are saying, what they did, and what you lost. Take inventory, take stock of what you have left, and make something out of it. And drive down that lane with relentlessness. Become great at it. If you have to disappear for a while, go into the cave, the bat cave, chisel the gadgets, do it. But emerge with the equivalent of 3 albums to go number 1, 2, and 3. Emerge with something record-breaking. Become the best at something. Like there's something, no matter how niched it is, that you are the best in the world at, or you have the potential to be the best in the world at. It's your niche, right? You might not be the best swimmer in the world, but you might be the best 50-year-old female swimmer in your entire apartment community, be the best at something. Like find something legitimately that you can create, that you can build. Okay, I need to build my house. Build your house. Whatever it is that you're working on, go for it. You focus on that. You'll feel the pain at times when you remember, oh, I think there's people who hate me. You need to get refocused on what you're going to accomplish. Because people are going to hate you whether you accomplish this or not. But guess what? They're not everyone. And honestly, in your case, they're not even the majority. At least in Drake's case, he could say, yeah, the majority of the world who was paying attention to music at the time really was turned off to me. That's pretty powerful. And he still came back 600 days later with 3 hit albums and is still the #1 most streamed artist. Do you understand? He actually could have said, the whole world is against me. You can't say that. It's actually a small amount of people. How many people is it even that know this thing about you that you're so worried about? 100? 200? 500? 1,000 people? How many is it? It's not that many. Even if you 1,000 people, 10,000, 100,000 people. Okay, yeah, that's still such a small number. You can't even prove that 100,000 people are really against you. But even if they were, that is such a tiny, 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 tiny number. Especially to how many people will benefit from what you have to offer when you get in your bag and you come out with your equivalent of the 3 hit albums. So many people are going to benefit. It's commensurate, right? Like if you're a person who had 10 haters, when you come back, you're going to have like 30 lovers, right? If you're a person who had like 1,000 haters, when you come back, you're going to have like 3,000 adorers, fans, followers. If you're a person who had legitimately like 100,000, you can come back with 300,000. I'm not joking. This is how it works. But only if you come back. Only if you stay steadily working hard, stay steadily building. Focus not on your reputation. Focus on your character. Just really, truly be that great person. And isn't it amazing how things just come around later? And people just kind of, the tide sort of shifts in your favor later on? That's not going to happen for people who stay on the ground. They stay laying down. Your success is not based on whether or not the smear campaign is in existence or if it disappeared. Your success is based on your focused determination and ability manifested in a product or a service. What are you doing? You need to create a product. It can be digital, it can be videos, music. What are you producing? Produce something. Or a service. What are you doing to serve? How are you going to serve? A lot of people think, well, I know I've recovered once nobody knows this about me anymore or thinks this about me anymore. Wrong measurement. Your healing, your recovery is, regardless of them knowing this about me, I'm not defined by that. I don't define myself by it, and that's what allows other people to not define you by it. You have to move on, you have to move forward, and you have to build. You have to create something. That is the answer. Because then you become known for your creation. And at best, the smear campaign is a footnote in your story. It's up to you. Do you want that to be your whole story, or do you want it to be a footnote? If you want it to be a footnote, build something, create something, do something, accomplish something now. Go. Get to work. If it takes you a year before you can pop back out, that's fine. Don't worry about friends. Get to work. You're not here to make friends, actually. You're here to fulfill your purpose in life. And if you make friends along the way, then whoop-de-doo, good for you. Truly, I'm happy for you. But that's not what your purpose here is. A lot of people think that our purpose is connection. No, it's not. Yes, we have the ability to connect. Yes, there's benefit to connection, but it is not your whole purpose to connect, because you'll be sad, sad, sad in this life, because you're going to have moments where you feel very disconnected and you're not getting the connections that you want and that you need. Stop thinking these false ideas. The purpose of your life is to fulfill your potential, your goals, your purpose. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Freedom means your critics are not controlling your nervous system. They can control the reputation, maybe. Maybe they are greatly influencing what most people think about you, but they can't control how you feel and how you feel about yourself. In time, the internet moves on. News cycles change. Even every 7 years, an eviction falls off of your credit. You know that? Bankruptcies fall off of your credit. Within time, people become less interested in whatever it was, and they become interested in something else. And so your subsequent behavior begins creating new evidence about who you are. And people check in with, what are they doing now? What have they done lately? Right now, Robert Downey Jr. has got to be like the highest paid actor in Hollywood. He's got to be up there. He's making hundreds of millions of dollars rehashing superhero roles and now a supervillain role. Hundreds of millions of dollars working for Disney. Robert Downey Jr. Do you not remember the impression that we had about him in the early 2000s and late 90s? Did you forget? He was known as a drug-addicted, washed-up actor who had talent, yes, but just didn't have his life together at all. He was clearly a mess up. A mess up. The guy who everyone relies on now for the hits. Unpredictable. People don't even remember that about him now. It's actually insane. When you think about since 2008, what he's done over that 20-year period, there's a whole generation of people. If I tried to talk to a kid 18, 19, 20 years old, and I said, Robert Downey Jr., you know who he is? They'd be like, yeah, of course. The place Iron Man, blah, blah, blah. Of course, they know who Robert Downey Jr. is. Imagine that. And they say, do you know when I was your age, he was a washed up, drug-addicted actor who was getting arrested. They didn't even want to hire him for jobs anymore. Like, he was literally done because they couldn't get insurance for him because he was uninsurable, because he's not reliable. The kid wouldn't believe that today. I'd be like, that's insane. We never heard that. I never knew that about him. That's what they would say. I never knew. Now relate that to your story. 20 years is going to pass by. Did you know that? 10 years, 5 years is going to pass by. What will you have to show for it? Don't still be talking about this. You want to be able to be like, look, I got the equivalent of my Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, Captain America, Civil War, Avengers 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5. They just keep going. I got so much. You understand? You bury it in your good works. You bury the smear campaign in your good works. Just do good work. Don't worry about the people you lost. If you lost anyone in the smear campaign, don't worry about them. Any humans, any people that you lost, yeah, they were your friends, but now they are not. And it's not because they don't want to be your friends, although that may be true. I have people that won't pick up the phone when I call because of smear campaigns from 5, 10 years ago. They won't pick up the phone. I call. We were friends. We were best friends. Hey, hello. Hey. Hello. Voicemail, blocked. Why? Smear campaign. They heard something bad about me from 10 years ago and they just figured I'm not a good person anymore. Don't worry about those people. You know why? Because if I told you in the first place, hey, this person, one day they're not even going to pick up your call. That's how hard they're going to turn on you. Would you have invested? Okay, well, now you know that information. Do you get it? You would never choose a person that you know is one day going to think bad about you, talk bad about you, side against you, turn on you, betray you. You would have never picked them if I could have told you that ahead of time. Now you're here. You're ahead of the time. Now you know. Why are you worried about getting them back? You don't want them back. That I can promise you. Let them go. Now you know they enjoy gossip. Now you know that they're not reliable, that they're not trustworthy, that they're not loyal. Now you know that you can't rely on them, that they don't have your back, that they won't stand beside you in the fire, and that crisis will take them away in a second. Now you know. Sometimes the crisis reveals things. Drake lost people. He lost many fellow collaborators. They used to be his friends. They used to be his buddies. They used to make great hit songs together. And then he saw how they acted, how they just turned against him so easy. He's like, I'll never speak to you again. Truly. He's like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. I don't want to hear you come back. I don't want to hear you want something from me. It's a no. And that's the right response. Because now you know who your true people. Drake really knows who his true people are now. And you see it. You see it in the music. You see it in the videos. He stands by his people who stood by him. And anybody that didn't, they're out. So your healing plan or your recovery plan is not going to be revenge. It's going to be good works. It's working hard. Working on your perception of things, which is focusing on your work, focus on what you're building. It feels good. It feels good. They say success is the best revenge. It is. I don't want you to do it for revenge, but I can't. I'm not gonna avoid acknowledging that there's a little piece of it when you are successful where you think about those people from your past and it feels good. When you buy that dream car and you go, oh, man, I remember those people thought bad about me. It feels good. When you cross 100,000 followers or even 5,000 followers on social media, you go, man, I remember those people who talked bad about me. It feels good when you accomplish something. And then you look back and you remember. So again, I don't want revenge to be your goal, but allow it to motivate you to do good works. In the end, we're building a life that's bigger than whatever the smear was. That's your strategy. So do you know what to do now? It's done. What happened in the past is it happened. The privileges and the jobs and everything that you lost, the credit, everything you lost, let it go. It's gone. You had it for a time. That was a blessing. Thank God for it. That was a blessing that you had it at that time. Now, take the lessons that you've learned from it. Ironically, those things still give you a touch of credibility. I used to be an investment banker. You're not now, but you used to be. It gives you a touch of credibility. I used to be a priest. You're not now, but you used to be. It gives you a touch of credibility. Interestingly enough, take what you learned, what you gained from those things, and move forward. Build something new, build something great, build something way bigger. That will attract a new tribe and serve your tribe. Your tribe is the people who are aligned with your purpose, who rock with you. And everybody else, leave them outside. Let God handle them.